Morning.
Morning, everyone. We're starting shortly.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, Terry.
Morning, Eugene.
Morning, everyone. Got my
Morning, Elizabeth.
Hi. How you going,
How are you?
Anya?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Oh, you are
Nice to
so
see you.
awesome. You're such a great person. Thank you so much for all your email support and everything.
Oh, you're too kind. You're too kind. No problem at all.
Hi, Eugene.
Hi, I'm just setting my slide deck up.
Oh, okay. I'll leave you to it.
No, I've done. It's all done. It's all done.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I like to start on time, which is I was panicking a little bit there.
A little bit of panic is good. A lot of panic is not good. So you sound
Yeah,
like
right.
you're very organised.
Well, that's the impression I want to give.
And I really enjoy your posts that you put on LinkedIn. Like,
Ah,
they're
thank you.
fantastic.
Thank you. More to come. But I am
Awesome.
going to Spain tomorrow, so I won't be doing any for a couple of weeks.
Sorry, what's happening tomorrow?
I'm off to Spain.
It's a holiday.
Yeah,
Sorry for some, isn't it?
it is. It is.
So is
Nice
that
hard
work or
work.
sorry,
It's
is that
pay.
work or business or fun?
Fun. I'm taking my daughter on a road trip around Spain. So
Wow. So you're
Yeah,
following
yeah.
Gwyneth Paltrow's footsteps.
well, I am actually half Spanish, so she's followed in my footsteps.
Ah, yeah. I know she
Uh,
likes to think like she starts everything, but
Yeah,
she's really just a follower.
she is. She is. Uh,
Ah,
Hello, everybody is coming online. We won't do a round of intros today because I think there's about 50 odd people registered to attend. We'll see if we get that many people, but that's a lot, which is great. So questions and any comments that you have, it's probably best if you write them in the chat or put a virtual hand up, and I'm happy to stop and ask and answer any questions. I'm sorry. The slide deck that I've got is really more of a interactive piece. So I won't be just doing well, hopefully that you'll be having questions and asking and interrupting. So that's what I'm hoping for. I'm loving your cat, Emily. Is it? It looks like a Russian blue, is it?
Yeah, she is. It was all by chance. I got her off Gumtree for free.
Wow.
So lucky me.
we have a Russian blue too. So
Oh, lovely. You'll have to
Yeah.
show me a picture when we're in office
I
next.
shall. I've got loads. So look at it. It is 9 o'clock. So we will start. Just to remind people that this is we are recording this session, and what we're hoping to do is to upload this up on our YouTube website as well. So anybody that hasn't been able to come can go onto that and review the slide deck later on. So that's what we're hoping for. The reason I'm hesitating there is that this thing won't go on my big screen, so I'll have to look on the little screen, annoyingly. So I do want to start first by saying that we acknowledge Aboriginal lands and its traditional owners, the Camaragal people of Northern Sydney region, and pay respects to past, present and emerging elders. As we work to serve the community's health needs, we recognise the importance of the land and waterways as an essential component of people's health and well-being. We recognise that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander knowledge and learning are integral to the cultural fabric of all Australians. So I'm going to ask Anya to shout out if there are any questions, because I can't really see anybody on the screen right now. So if there are any questions or anyone's got the hand up, just shout out Anya and let me know.
Will do.
Thank you. Look, we just thought we'd start with what is a community cooperative, just so that we all know what it is we're talking about here. And so I can hear a plane, I think. So if everyone go on mute, that would be great. Or is it a Hoover? Is somebody hoovering? No? All right.
I can hear it too.
Yeah. Off. Okay. Community cooperatives, they're enterprise owned and governed by local residents. There's been an emergence in the mid 2000s as an innovative vehicle for delivering social and care services, really fostering community development across Australia and other jurisdictions. The research and case studies over the past 2 decades show that community cooperatives can play a pivotal role in social prescribing, acting as community-based partners to healthcare systems and connecting people to non-clinical supports. Cooperatives often function as social enterprises, reinvesting profits into local initiatives and exemplifying asset-based community development by mobilizing the skills, networks and resources of residents to address local needs. And such models have demonstrated success in building local economies, attracting philanthropic and government funding, and reducing social isolation and improving health and social outcomes. I'm just going to stop sharing that for a second and see if anyone's got any thoughts about that definition. Is that clear, or does anybody want to ask anything on that? Yeah, go, Rosalind. You're on mute.
Rosalind, you're on mute. Oh, we can't hear you, Rosalind. Can you hear us? You can hear us.
No, we can't hear you.
Oh, you need to put your microphone to your mouth. Oh, no, still no luck.
Sorry,
Okay.
do you want to... That's okay.
Yeah, maybe
right.
just put it in the chat if you can, and I can read it out.
So look, the reason we're really interested in supporting the development of community cooperatives across North Sydney, twofold really. One is that we want to create 4 community cooperatives across the region, one each for each of our hubs in DY or Northern Beaches, Hornsby and Ryde. And we're looking to open those hubs on the 1st of July. That doesn't mean that community cooperatives will be ready to go by then, but we are looking for a partnership between those community cooperatives and those hubs. And we also are keen for a community cooperative to be set up for First Nations people across the region. We don't have any Aboriginal controlled health organisations in the region, so we would really like to support that work. So that's the first element of it. The second element is to support initiatives that are happening locally that are not really part of our commissioning plan, but would really help support health and well-being in community. So we're really looking to support those, and we'll be considering putting out a grant opportunity to support those smaller initiatives over time. Small initiatives can become big initiatives, of course. We are looking to attract funding from other sources to support this movement, but we will be allocating funding for the 4 community cooperatives that we've just been talking about. The key, though, is that we really need to make sure that they have that they're developed with the discipline of setting up a community cooperative. We're working with the Bureau, the Business Chamber of Cooperatives and Mutuals, and their role has been to support the development of cooperatives over time, including the Care Together program in rural and remote areas that's been very successful across New South Wales, and we'll be looking to get their input to guide the development of this. So what we wanted to do was to create a community of practice, which we thought we would start off, and depending how it goes, we'll either emerge into one large community of practice or several communities of practice, depending on how the work emerges over time. And today we really just wanted to set the really to start thinking about setting the foundation for a community of practice, and to really get clear on what do we expect, or what is expected from a COP or community of practice, and how people can get involved in that work. The idea here is to support you to support yourself to develop the community cooperatives, because it's really needs to come from community. You know, our role is to provide some funding and some scaffolding around that, but unless community lead the process, then it's not so much a community cooperative anymore. So we're really looking for grassroots involvement. Can be supported by non-government organisations that are already in the space, and there's good examples of where NGOs have auspiced work that then gets spun off into the community cooperative space. So I'm hoping that, I'm just looking around the room, I'm hoping that makes sense. If there are any questions, please shout out. I'll go back to sharing. Okay. So the purpose of today is to launch a community of practice for setting up community cooperatives in Northern Sydney, to create a shared purpose, to establish some group norms and a foundation for collaboration. So there's a suggested agenda here that we start off by, you know, a welcome, which we've done, and introductions. And by way of introductions, rather than going around the room, I was hoping people could just put in the chat who you are, you know, where you're from, what's your aspiration, and share that digitally online. That would be great. We want to go through the objectives and the agenda overview, talk about what is a community of practice, set some ground rules and values, look at what the roles and membership expectations of a COP are, sort of think about the activities and plans of a COP, talk about open dialogue and next steps, and then we will close and affirm our commitment to the COP. So I am going to pause at that stage to see if there's any questions before we dive into the agenda. No?
No, we don't have any questions,
That's
Eugene,
okay. That's
in the
okay.
chat.
Okay. So really, yeah, just being clear on what is a community of practice. It's a group of people who share a concern, often a passion for something they do, and learn how to do it better as they interact regularly. So it's really a shared learning experience. It's a group of people who share a concern, a set of problems, or a passion for a topic, and who deepen their knowledge and expertise in this area by interacting on an ongoing basis. And another definition is that it's individuals motivated by the desire to cross organizational boundaries, relate to each other, and build actionable knowledge through collaboration. So why it matters. For setting up community cooperatives, especially in diverse urban environments, a community of practice provides a social infrastructure that empowers learning, builds trust, and shares wisdom and supports sustainable collaboration. That's the key here, really, that we're moving from a competitive environment in the market to a more collaborative one, which is not an easy transition often to make. The benefits are it's practice-based learning. We're learning by doing. We're learning in the context, and it's not just the theory. It supports innovation and helps to tackle local challenges together. There's a collective ownership. It sustains engagement and purpose. we're able to develop and use shared knowledge and tools. That helps us build capacity quickly and efficiently. It also creates social capital and builds foundation for trust, trust-based governance. Key here is the longevity of the COP and the cooperatives, is that the longevity of this work goes beyond the one-off initiatives. The relationships that we build in this work are sustained ongoingly, and it's adaptable, and the flexibility matches everybody's needs, or at least that's the hope and the intent. Any reaction to any of that? I'm seeing something here. Any questions? Okay, so Nathan, okay, that's just introducing yourself. That's great. Thank you for everyone who's putting their details in the chat. That's great.
Liz has her hand up. Elizabeth Bullock.
Hey, Liz.
Hi, I noticed there's someone from Northern Beaches Council here. Maybe the chat has answered this question for me, but I can't divide my attention. Is there someone from Hornsby Council attending today? Do we know?
I don't believe Hornsby Council are in attendance today, Elizabeth, unfortunately. But great to see Northern Beaches Council here. Sharon's
Look,
very happy.
I think that as we grow and develop this work, we will get more and more people engaged in it. I mean, that's one of the reasons we want to make sure that we share this this session more widely. And I think you know, some people won't really understand what a COP is and what a community cooperative is. So hopefully, as we share the word, spread the word, I guess we can bring some more people into this space. Okay, so suggested rules for this COP. Happy for any of this to be debated and to be rewritten, and but we thought we'd actually get something, put something together that could be debated rather than creating something new, which might take a bit of time with 40 odd people being here today. So look, I'll just read them out. That we're looking at voluntary participation. You know, you're here because you want to be here. It ensures authentic and engaged membership. We're looking at each one of us having mutual respect for each other. And that we're inclusive, and that we show that by giving people space to have their views aired and time to talk and to speak. That builds a welcoming and culturally safe environment, and with a safe environment, people are happy to come to a COP. We have to ensure that what we say in the COP is confidential, enabling trust and safe exchange. And that will be true beyond today. Today is really just about establishing the rules and the norms of the COP going forward. We need to build on ideas, encouraging creativity and collaboration. Many ideas, you know, many brains make better ideas, and if you've got an idea, share them, no matter how crazy you think they might be. We're looking for equitable engagement, ensures all voices are heard. Constructive dialogue. So if we do have, you know, if we are debating stuff or we've got different views, let's be generative in the way that we, constructive in the way that we talk about that and explore through open inquiry. We're looking for consensus and consensus orientated decision making, a democratic approach to the COP. It supports inclusivity. We want the COP to be adaptive, so let's not, you know, be too fixed in how this might work over time. We really need to adapt it to meet the needs of the development of the community cooperatives. We need to come in here understanding that we're all learning and we're all sharing, and that accelerates community capacity building. We want clarity by the facilitator, maintaining a process of integrity. Want to be able to reflect and refresh, keep norms alive and responsive, and we want to be accessible and transparency, ensure fairness and wide participation. So I will just pause there, see if there are any issues with these rules, and or whether we're happy to approve them. So if you're happy to approve them, thumbs up on your digital thumbs, that would be great. So we've got our hands up. Great. So Yasko, did you want to say something? Yeah, you're on mute at the moment. There's a $1 fine for everyone who speaks on mute today. Yasko, you're on mute. No.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Hello, I'm Yasko.
How are you?
Hi, good, thanks. I'm from Manly 42, the new community hub in Manly.
Hi.
Hi. Hi.
Did you want to say something?
Well, did I raise my hand up?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I just reacted, summed up. So, yeah.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah,
That's fine.
it's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's great. There are other hands up. I noticed, and maybe the same. If you were meant to put your thumb up instead of your hands, if you could take them down, that'd be great.
I think that's what we all did, Eugene.
Oh,
we all put our
okay.
hands up as a thumbs up.
All right, cool. That's fine. So if you wanted to change these rules, please let us know. Either now or you can do it, through the chat. But for me, they seem to be pretty straightforward. So, all right, cool. Well, we'll go back to the presentation. So really, what's really important here, as well as the rules, is to really think about what your role will be in the COP. So we're not looking for a COP isn't somewhere where you can just turn up and just be a guest, somebody who can just observe what's going on. We really need to have people in the COP who are willing to take on the roles, and some of these roles are interchangeable. So as we go through them, you'll see that. But there are some key roles that we really need people to put their hands up for. And I'll just quickly go through them. If you're interested in taking on any of these roles, one or more, can you please put that in the chat as well? That would be great, and we can look through that later on. If you want to ask questions about any of these roles, ask away. I might not have the answer, but somebody else in the room may well do. So we can just go through that. So key is the convener and facilitator role, and that's the role I've taken on today. I'd rather not be the convener or facilitator. It would be great if we could have that from community. And until we do get a volunteer, obviously we will continue to take on that role. But our aim is to really ask somebody from community to take on the convener facilitator role, and we're very happy to support that person. But their role is to lead inclusive sessions, enforce norms, organize agenda, and manage the meeting cadence and rhythm. Core members, they're people that are committed to regularly attending the meeting, sharing knowledge, tools, and participating actively. Champions and sponsor liaisons, these promote the COP, they secure support, they articulate impact to external networks. So that's somebody who goes outside of the COP to really talk about the work that we're doing, enrolling people to join the COP, and also to help influence the work that we're doing outside of the COP. Knowledge manager and archivist, somebody who can organize the shared knowledge and maintain resources and access. The subject matter expert, I think a lot of people will be subject matter experts in their particular subject matter, which is great. We also are looking for people who can provide insights from each of those roles. So this is something that might be adopted by each and every one of you in terms of one of your roles. A discussion moderator. So that's somebody who is in the COP that will help stimulate engagement, maintain focus, and ask strong prompts. And that really sort of gives support to the convener and the facilitator for managing the COP. Then we will have people who are coming in as newcomers and a peripheral, and will begin just by learning from observing, asking questions and integrating over time, and integrating into one of those roles over time. We're also looking to see how we can bring in elders and veterans into this work so that we can share wisdom, culture, and mentor new members. And of course, administrative support, somebody who can manage the logistics, communicate, schedule, and document the work.
Eugene, there's a few comments in the chat
Yeah.
just around that. So Lisa is asking, can we please have an idea of how much time we would need to commit to each role? And Elizabeth is asking about learning more about being a discussion moderator.
Do we have people who've got experience in COPs previously that can answer any of those questions? Moana? Mel, rather? You're on mute. That's the dollar.
Morning, everyone.
Morning, Mel.
Yes, we've been through the COP process before when we started off Moana, and yeah, you need a well, we find, because we were all volunteers, that people come and go. So and you know, the other parts of their life get busy, so it's quite hard to keep the same people there all the time, keeping that flowing. Something to consider.
Yeah. Thank you. Kerry?
Thanks, Eugene. See, I'm off mute, so I don't owe $1. Okay.
You don't owe me $1. Brilliant. By the way, that's a joke in case anyone thinks that wasn't a joke. I'll get myself into trouble.
Yeah. It's recorded, Eugene.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I used to run community of practice for Profida, and I'm not sure if it'd be the same, but we used to do it about every 3 months that we actually ran them. And then the contribution within it, it would usually be an hour, sometimes 2 hours, and it would just be being present within that for discussions.
Thank you. Thank you. And Anna?
Hi, look, I'm not an expert, but I'm running more and being involved in more. And I think the practices of participatory leadership are incredibly important in this. So I would just flag the practices that we use to run the COP. I think ensure equity in people speaking and people being able to contribute as well. And that requires a lot of holding of the group by whoever the lead person is.
Yeah, thank you, Anna. I couldn't agree more with that. Okay, I don't see any more hands up. So we'll go on to the next slide. I mean, I think everyone got these slides anyway, so you should have a record of all of these. Oh, there's a question.
Hand up. Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, Jacqueline.
Sorry, is that me?
Yes.
Okay, I beg your pardon. Okay. Yeah, my name's Jackie. I'm currently working with Carefinders Community Engagement, and my background is predominantly homelessness, and I've worked in the DV space as well. This role, I'm only here till December in an interim role, but having said that, it's given me a really great opportunity to come from the community sector and get a view across the regions, because I'm working across Northern Beaches, North Shore, Parramatta and Cumberland. There's such a strong initiative around hubs and COPs across Sydney at the moment, which is really lovely to see. It's an old model from 1,000 years ago, but because I'm old, being formalised in some sense. But having said that, being able to bring wisdom from different sectors into the one room, there is so much learning in that. And it's absolutely brilliant, because many of us work across different and support really different and diverse groups. So getting feedback about what the needs are if you're working in mental health, around housing, or in aged care and health. It's just phenomenal. So yeah, that opportunity, I agree with, allowing time around different sectors and voices in the room, and just keeping that fairly even and moderated. But the process in itself just carries a lot of opportunity and wisdom. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Is it Jacqueline or Jackie? Jacqueline.
Yeah, both. I'll answer
Okay.
to anything. Okay.
Oh, Rosalind,
I don't know if I'm unmuted.
you're on. Now you're good. You're good. We can hear
Oh,
you.
good. Excellent. Okay, so I live in Beecroft, and I think because it's Beecroft, everybody thinks it's frightfully privileged. But I've been privileged to have a craft and conversation group now for, approaching 3 years. I've lost track. And yes, some of the members are pretty privileged, including me. And but I can't believe what a wonderful friendship group it has become. So my mission is to make sure that whether I'm there or not, that hall is funded so that people can go there and do their craft and conversation. And once a fortnight we have games. Another group brings in games and they play games in another corner of the hall. But as anybody knows, that facility, it's a wonderful hall, and it would accommodate 4 groups without any trouble, and then the supper room could be used for anybody who wanted to be noisy or jump about or whatever people might like to do. So funding Beecroft Hall for a few hours on a Wednesday morning is my mission. Okay, thank you.
I love that.
And I'm happy to do whatever I have to do to achieve that. Yeah.
I love that. And you know, everyone should be sharing their mission. You know what? Because clearly everyone's here because they're community leaders, and we really want to support. We really want to support that. I think Liz had her hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Rosalind if that is close to public transport at all. Like, is it near Beecroft train station? Do you know?
Yes, it's, look, if I was to guess, I'd say between 50 and 100 metres from the exit, probably 100 metres from the exit of the station. Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's fantastic, because I don't think there's a lot of community centres in Hornsby itself that are near public transport. So, yeah, I support that.
Yeah, parking's a pain, but if you're disadvantaged, no, hang on, if you're disabled, there's a couple of disabled parking spots at the facility, but you'd have to go through council to get your access to those. Yeah.
Thanks, Rosalind. Kyle.
Hi. So I'm with Mission Australia in Macquarie Park, and so Midtown Mac Park is a brand new development that's still being built, but yeah, we'll have quite a bit of community space. We already have some community space already completed. Next year, early next year, we'll have another 400 meters square of community space that we're just trying to activate and work with community partners. But yeah, we're on site, and so we can definitely facilitate and work with you all and with this collective to really enable and activate community space. And I just put in as a question of just around what kind of commitment, how often we're looking to meet, and using space if we're looking to meet in person. We're about 400 meters from the Macquarie University metro station.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. That's very generous. Thanks, Kyle. Okay, I'm just making sure there's no other before we go on. Supporting insights. We really want to structure these roles to help distribute responsibility across the ownership of the COP. Looking for members to naturally progress through roles, newcomers becoming contributors, and contributors may move into leadership or facilitation roles, and we're clearly defining roles that support sustainability by ensuring smooth transition and capacity building within the COP. So, how to plan COP activities? As I said, I have shared this previously in the information that went out before. So I don't intend to go through this in detail, but just to say that it's important that we do clarify goals and purpose at the beginning of the COP, that we use different ways of meeting and structure the way that we manage, monitor and evaluate the work that we do. We need to ensure that we engage and participate in a creative way, you know, and people respond differently to different environments. So, you know, we've all got different ways of thinking, neurodiversity, and all different ways of, you know, perceiving the world. So we need to make sure that that's understood and accepted, and that we're not too strict. So having roles, responsibilities, and an agenda is a good structure, but we also need to make sure that we adapt and we're more responsive to people's way of learning and people's way of being creative and contributing. And we also know that some people are very, you know, good at speaking up, and others prefer to keep their thoughts and ideas to themselves. And we really want to pull all the ideas and share those ideas equally, and make sure people are supported and feel safe to do that in these groups. We do want to anchor the work in tangible outcomes. So it is great to come together and have that community feel and working together in a connected way. To do that with real purpose, it will really sort of turbocharge that work. And making sure that we keep activity fluid and responsive is also really really important. Maintaining that this might be an emergent strategy, or a strategy that will show itself over time, rather than often responding to, well, what will it look like? And that's often something that's I'm asked on a regular basis. You know, can you describe what that endpoint of a community collaborative be? Well, no, I can't. But what I do want to do is to think about, well, what matters to that community where the community cooperative is growing, and how do we make sure that community cooperative meets those needs in a way that also supports the work that we're doing from a primary health and social care angle. So on that, I'm just going to pause and give opportunity for people to speak. And if you haven't said anything, this is a good time to put your hand up. Sarah.
Hey, can you hear me first of all?
Yes.
Do I owe you $1? Okay.
No, you're $1 safe.
Cool. Throw my mind back a while ago. I work in Northern Beaches Family Support. We have Women and Children First over here in Northern Sydney, which is DV and risk of homelessness. When I used to work at the Northern Centre, there was a community hub there. We had Benevolent Society, we had health. We were downstairs as a family support DV team. They had community dropping upstairs for the aged care. So I'm sort of thinking, I don't know what happened to that hub. So I suppose it's just a question to the floor if anyone else who worked in that area knows what happened, because I think Benevolent Society moved out of the building. So it seemed to be working and successful. And I suppose for me, the question is, how does this get funded? Is it everyone just spending some of their time from all the different local community organisations going in and spending some time there? Because I do get a bit like, it has happened before, but then it gets disbanded or funding gets pulled.
Yeah. Does anyone have any information, Sarah, on that?
And this was about 9 years ago when I worked at the Northern Centre. So
yeah.
So this is Jennifer from CCA New South Wales. I believe the Northern Centre still exists in West Ryde. And they are still providing services to families, and they have like play groups and things.
So that's the Northern Centre, isn't it? But there used to be aged care there. There used to be intensive family support offered by Benevolent Society, which is the Brighter Futures. So there was a lot more intensive family support plus aged community support, and it just, I don't know whether some of it got disbanded. I know the Northern Centre is still there. I didn't know whether that big hub still existed.
Jacqueline?
Yeah. What I've seen over the years is just simply if funding moves, so certain programs auspicing or a particular person moves, things shift around, and so you just simply get these natural migrations across. Informal, not even informal, they're formal, but they're informal because there's no legal entity that holds the reins or the scope, if you like, and the responsibilities. And so it really is a coordinated effort by interests on the day. And then those change because programs are refunded in a different way or taken over by a different organisation. So it's just a fantastic question that you ask, Sarah, around how, we know that the benefits are there, but how do we keep some consistency and not continue to lose the knowledge each time there's a shift of an organisation or an individual or a funding program?
And I think an impact on the community, I suppose. I get a little bit frustrated working in the targeted early intervention space, and it's like we know what we need to be doing, but when money gets pulled or there's you talked about, Eugene, about people collaborating. It is hard to collaborate because everyone's got funding contracts and certain geographical areas. And I think it's a great idea when people can come together and go, you do housing, I'll do DV, you do aged care. And that's the point of a community hub. And I think if we can get to the bottom of how we get over, to your point, Jacqueline, the issues, then this could fly.
Yep. Strong fences make good neighbours. I think having boundary, good boundaries. This is what we'll do. This is what you'll do, and of course there are overlaps, but I think that's a really good point. I also want to. I will come to you in a minute, Nonny, but I just wanted to say about sustainability, and often a lot of community initiatives don't sustain because there isn't a ongoing business plan, and it tends to be over reliant on maybe one funder. And so when that falls down, that program also falls down too. What we're aiming to do here is to bring together a number of funders to support the development of this, and also to look at the enterprise part of the social enterprise to see how we better sustain cooperatives. Look, it's ambitious, but also wanted to say that we've done this before. I mean, it's like going back in time, and we know what works. And I'm looking around the room, and we all seem to be of a very similar demographic in terms of age, but that we've seen this work before, and why hasn't it been sustained? And I think part of the work that we want to do is to say, okay, well, how do we create a sustainable model? And how to set up a cooperative handbook that we sent out previously will hopefully take us through that. But we also want to have engaged the Business Chamber of Cooperatives and Mutuals to support that, and they've got some really interesting ways, and have had some interesting ways of making sure that cooperatives are more likely to be sustained over time. So we can talk to that as we in the future, how that might happen. So Rosalind, I think Sarah, you've been Rosalind. That's $1.
That better?
Yep.
Okay, I just wanted to share a sort of a social situation. Our lovely group, sort of 8 to 10, was 12 once, which was amazing. I was going to be away for 5 weeks, and I said, okay, let's designate each session to somebody to be responsible for opening and shutting the hall. And nobody wanted to do that. But what happened in the end was they couldn't commit. And, these are older people. And I think, grandchildren and one thing and another, they just didn't want to commit. I think probably after a lifetime of commitment to whatever, they're shy of commitment. And what happened was each week they worked out amongst themselves who would take the role and the key, not the key, it's a code, and open the room next next week. It was just the most amazing, I don't know, lesson for me on how older people really don't want to commit. Wonderful, capable people, but no way.
Yeah, thank you,
Anyway,
Rosalind.
thank you.
Noni.
I just wanted to share that I'd strongly sort of support an integrated community practice across the 3 areas. I just feel in terms of knowledge, experience, that there'd be a lot to be gained by having that cross-fertilisation. I'm in the Hornsby area. I'm going to be honest and say that we experience impediments with our local council when it comes to support for community initiatives, ongoing sustainable support, particularly from my own perspective. I was on the inaugural Arts and Cultural Council with Hornsby Council many years ago, and look, nothing much has happened in 20 years, whatever it was. So I'm just thinking, when I looked at the the findings from the three different co-design meetings, I just felt that there were things in each jurisdiction or health district that could be shared, and that there would be a possible kind of loss of capital or potential from separating out. So that's kind of my main thrust.
Thank you. Thank you. Sarah, do you have your hand up from the last time? Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. All right. Thank you, everybody. I think I've got.
There's another question, Eugene, from Mikhail Fagan.
Yes. This is the first time I'm sort of engaging in the cooperative and sort of trying to understand. I'm from Relationships Australia, New South Wales. So I was just curious, as you've just mentioned, you've been gathering up different pockets of funding and trying to get different funders together. Does that mean that the PHN is sort of leading the cooperative to a certain point or facilitating the group? So I'm just trying to understand, I guess, how it works a little bit more from I guess, that perspective.
Yeah, so I think our role is more of an enabling role rather than a leading role. I mean, at the moment, it's a leading role in that we're pulling this together, and we want to create that environment where we connect and work together. What we want to do is to encourage other funders to come in and invest in this work. So we might get funders that do that directly to the cooperative, which would be our preferred approach. Because anything that comes through the PHN, we might clip the ticket on that. So it's better that it goes direct to the community cooperative. We have had Place. We are talking to Place, which is a new organisation that has been spun off from the Australian government, funded by the Australian government, but also funded by a load of other philanthropists. And their key role is to encourage and support and invest in place-based work. And they're very keen to work with primary health networks, and we're very keen for them to work with us. It's very early in their, they've only been going, I think, for about 6 months. I mean, the concept's been around for a few years, but they've actually just sort of gone live over the last 6 months, and they've done a bit of a road trip to raise their profile. But we'll be looking at other opportunities, like the local health district might also want to invest, and local government might do, and local business. Also looking at how community raise funds themselves. So I think there's all sorts of opportunities. One of the successful cooperatives from the Care Together program, they invested in and bought out buildings, and they rent their buildings for for-profit organisations, and they then invest that money into community work. So there are all sorts of business models that are available to us, or available to you, and we just wanted to make sure that we can realise that, but importantly, make sure the sustainability element is there. So the discipline of creating a business plan that will really be tested by banks, by funders, and we can stand up and go, yeah, this is actually a going concern. And that might look different in every different organisation. But what I don't want us to think about is that there's that Sydney North Health Network have this big cache of money, and that we just continue to fund the community cooperative. And yeah, completely 100%, that we're really looking for a mixed economy in this space, supporting the program.
So I guess you're sort of looking to help the development of it, but the whole cooperative together will build and develop it over time and support it to stay sustainable.
Correct. And I think each cooperative will be a sustainable enterprise in its own right. But we want to support the development of that and bring in experts to support community. But this has really got to be a grassroots. Yeah. So I think if we can provide some sunlight and some water, and we've got the right soil in place, then the grass will grow. Sorry for that awful.
No, that's good. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks.
Okay, so I'm going to share again.
There's a question, Eugene, from Felicity asking about a timeline for the establishment of the COPs.
Yes, I will come to that and talk to that very shortly. If it was a quick answer, I'd give it to you. Okay, so sorry, it's a boomer trying to do. Okay, so why this approach works? The activities that we have in a COP, they build connections, circles, and reflection, and it's in essence that in itself is providing positive outcomes. It does foster shared learning across each individual and organisation. They generate practical outputs, co-design workshops, resource libraries, and COPs can also maintain engagement through varied rhythm and formats of the COPs. So, to answer that question, meeting cadence and format. So there's some areas to think about there, but I just wanted to put that open to the group, whether there's any preferences for how often we should meet, how long the meeting should be, whether it should be in person, hybrid, or face to face, how flexible it should be in terms of the agenda, or rigid, or any other components of the COP you'd be interested in. And before we go into that,
Looks like we might have just lost Eugene.
Shall we pretend he's on mute and charge him $100?
We're in the same building, so it must be over the other side of the building that he's having problems there. But I suppose he has left us with a little bit of a question around cadence format. So we'd love to, we actually have a questionnaire as well at the end, or a short survey, evaluation survey of today's session. So this is covered in that. So we will be able to capture all of that. But happy to hear anyone's thoughts on what's worked well, what or what the preference would be, so we can kind of just sort of get a bit of an idea. Anyone have any thoughts around how often we should meet, if we should be meeting as just a collective, one collective across those 3 hub areas, or in separate hub jurisdictions? We've got a few hands up. Liz.
Yeah, I strongly have a preference for online meeting because I can't be late.
Yes,
but I also think it would be really interesting to hold some meetings out in the community as a way of kind of introducing the idea that it's happening to, like, people in the community, business owners. We could meet in local cafes and you know, make it known that we're kind of, there's something happening, that you know, the community recognises there's a need, and we're doing something. I also think that maybe in the setup kind of phase, I think it'd be good to meet a little bit, like have a bit of a flexible time frame. Like it might be monthly one time, and maybe every 2 weeks another time. Yeah, they're my thoughts, but I could be getting on thinking those.
Yeah, no, they're good points, because you're right. There's a life cycle, and there's sometimes meetings should be more frequent, whereas other times you need to get away and do the work and then come back and regroup. Thank you. Next hand up was from Rosalind.
I just listening to Elizabeth, I think it's what she's saying is wonderful. I couldn't agree more. And the idea of getting out into the community, somehow maybe getting other community members on side would be fantastic. And the other thing was at a meeting not so long ago, I know Anya was there, it was proposed that there should be a central list of all the things that are happening in any one community. Because as soon as we started our craft and conversation with it, oh, somebody else is sewing and somebody else is knitting and somebody else is chatting. So it was all sort of in ignorance of everybody else. So if that list could be compiled as some sort of major part of the collaborative, I think that'd be brilliant. Anyway, thanks.
Great.
I am back as Ty, in case you thought. I've had to jump on another computer, but we will go through the hands up. I think John was next.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Nice to see you all. Just on the meetings, right? My suggestion would be both all the three hubs meet, say twice a year in person. The local hubs meet, say, bi-monthly, in person or online, whatever's easiest to organise. And then that leaves space for, say, subcommittees or project and program committees that can then sort of meet in the fill-in months as line, because you're going to have to sort of get granular around specific programs and working with specific providers. That's my thought.
Thanks, John. Jacqueline?
Yeah, there are some already existing forums around different service domains that exist in the not-for-profit community sector, allied health areas that could be leveraged in this forum. So you have, for instance, on the Northern Beaches, a housing and homelessness forum, a domestic violence forum, there's an age and disability forum, and inviting those to collaborate around this community of practice might be a consideration, rather than, splitting the groups out again into these domains. Anyway, just one way of not reinventing the wheel, and perhaps bringing into the room those forums that have kind of already responded to community and service delivery need.
I love that. Thank you. And who else? Sorry, Mel.
Hi. I sort of agree with John that we should meet, whether it be quarterly or whatever, as a big group to see where everyone's at. But I feel like we need to get down to nuts and bolts and get into our own community, because they're all different. They have different needs. And we're already set up as Moana. We're already meeting needs of people locally. We're seeing 125 people a month minimum, and we're only open 3 nights a week. So we can see what the needs are, and we can sort of grow from those sorts of things. We're doing wisdom wellness programs. We're doing a few other things. We're doing a fathering project and different things. So we can see what the needs are building already in our community. So I feel like we need to get down to tin tacks there and get going with it. Otherwise, it'll just delay the process even longer.
Thanks, Mel. Kerry?
Yeah, thanks, Eugene. Just I think, having been engaged with community practice before, I think it's really beneficial to have the 3 hubs together. I think, you know, we can all bring each other some learnings and some guidance along the way, and that's what community practice is, right? To bounce off ideas and what's happening. And then I think someone in the group, you know, mentioned maybe having sub meetings aside of the community of practice, but maybe, you know, doing it alternative months with the 3 hubs together, and then, you know, the other month that 1 hub each time. And I think we have a lot more presentation if we do online. So, you know, whether we did that as well, face to face. I think Elizabeth talked about having the community presence and awareness if we do face to face in our local communities, and then maybe do online. But yeah, happy to add these thoughts onto the surveys too.
Thank you. That's great. There's some questions, I think, in the chat.
Yes, so there was a question from Lois. Lois would like to know more about the vision. What does PHN want from this, and to what extent, and for how long will they be involved?
How long who will be involved?
So wants to understand more about the vision and what are we trying to achieve from this as a primary care network?
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, the overall vision is that community do things better for themselves, and so if we can support grassroots movement, so that work is funded, then that would be a good thing. And by doing that, we will improve the health and well-being of people in community. And by doing that, we reduce demand on clinical services and other acute and chronic issues. So this is one strategy in promoting the health and well-being of people living in North Sydney. For that to work, though, it needs to be driven by what matters to those communities. And so rather than us as a primary health network saying we want to fund 3 community cooperatives in these areas and this is how it should be run, then that's not going to work, because we know that we need to be invited into community. And we also know that we're not a rich PHN, we're one of the least richest funded PHNs across Australia, because there's a sense that people in Northern Sydney, you're all well and you're all healthy, right? So that's what they think of us. Well, there are pockets of disadvantage that get hidden, as you all know, and therefore don't get funded. So we want to raise the profile of that, and we want to shout out the need for services in those areas. But one of the things that we do know is that you get better outcomes if we create integrated services, so that people accessing care, health or social care, their journey is seamless, that they get what they need when they need it. And the barriers that are currently up for those that experience health inequity, whether that's financial, cultural, because of their gender identity, whatever it might be, we want to get rid of those boundaries. We want to make sure that everyone gets what they need when they need it, and as early as possible, because we know by doing that, we reduce incidence of chronic illness, we live longer, but we don't only just live longer, we live longer without dementia, and we live longer without cancer, and you know, all that stuff. So that's the high level strategic intent. And then we get into the granularity of it. I say, well, okay, well, what would that look like in the hubs that we're creating? So we deliberately identified 3 areas where we want to put our services in. So strategically, they are closer to areas of social disadvantage and health disadvantage. But we don't just want to run clinical services from those places. We also want social services and other types of services that benefit well-being to be run locally, but by those communities. So the cooperative model helps that to emerge, and it is an emergent strategy. So we also want to help support the discipline around building those community cooperatives. So that's our first agenda. The second agenda is, I know in this room people here have already they're close to their own initiatives. They know what they want to do. They know what's needed, and we want to support them to develop their entity or cooperative in the way that they want to. And finally, I just want to say that in terms of timing, we want this to be sustainable, ongoing, and to prove the concept that this actually delivers well-being and outcomes. so that that then gets shared across Australia and it's shared with other jurisdictions. And what's attractive about the cooperative model is that members are part of that organisation, and it's a democratic organisation, and people are, depending on how you set it up, but you can have one member, one vote, or whatever. But it's a cooperative, so there's ownership of the community in that organisation, which is different to a not-for-profit that is run by an executive and led through that process. So that's some context that I may or may not have explained before, but I'm hoping that sort of helps sort of answer some of those questions. And I see there are hands up, so I will come to those. John? That's $1, John.
Yeah, sorry, that's from previous times. Sorry.
Okay. Miff? Come on, Miff.
Sorry.
Yeah, you got it.
Got there. Fairly basic question. Do you think that this can be successful without support of the local council?
That sounds like a leading question to me. And given the local council is here today, I think the more funders that are available locally, the better. That will make it more sustainable. So whether or not local council do, I mean, they already all the local councils already contribute to community and health and wellbeing work anyhow. So as long as that's the more funders we got in place, the better, and the more sustainable the program will be. That's a political answer on purpose.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
Someone said before that our council weren't here.
Which is is that Hornsby?
Hornsby.
Yeah, well, I mean, we will continue to invite all, and some people haven't been able to join because this time didn't work for them, which is why we wanted to record the session. So
Okay.
again.
All right. That's fun. Thank you.
Thanks, Miff. Lisa, how are you? $. Boom.
No, I was looking for my microphone. You mentioned before, and it's just kind of something that's keeps crossing my mind, that other PHNs are interested in this model. So is this the kind of the test case, or do we have another PHN or another kind of local area that we can model our model on?
Yeah, so if you Google Care Together, what are the PHNs who have what are called in thin markets? So they're rural, remote organisations where there's not a very strong not-for-profit sector. So what they've had to do is to generate a new market through cooperatives. Care Together was designed specifically to do that, and so Hunter and Central Coast PHN, they've been leading on this work locally around their rural areas, and have got some good success in working in this way. Metro PHNs haven't been doing this because they have got a strong market in place. We have decided to do this because we want to flip the system a little bit. So we want to make sure that the agency is in community, and that we work with community to build that agency and to get their voice across. So so you won't find, I don't think you'll find many examples in rural, metro areas, except that we did do some of this work previously 10 years ago I was at FACS, now DCJ, and we developed a co-op. It was a not-for-profit housing for disability, for people with disabilities, and they became a cooperative and ran it themselves, which meant that there was no operational cost applied to another NGO. All the funding got straight to that organisation, and that's now been escalated across Australia. And that cooperative is called SILC, S-I-L-C. So you can Google that, and it's called Supported Independent Living Cooperative. and that gives an example about how they worked in that way. Now, Lois, sorry, I think I put you out of order, but you're next.
Thank you. I was typing my question in the chat, so I was going to turn off my hand. I'm just curious about, so when you answered my question before, it sounds like the issue for the PHN is pressure on clinical services. You're addressing fragmentation of services. And so the COP will have two benefits. One is getting existing not-for-profits together to collaborate and identify gaps, but also accessing the community directly, and then enabling them to generate like social enterprise responses to gaps and unmet needs. Is that right?
Yeah, but it's slightly nuanced from that. So we are looking to bring the not-for-profits together to integrate their services into the hubs. So that's something that we're doing through our current procurement process. But not-for-profit organisations are potential funders too. So they could also decide to fund a cooperative locally if they choose to, if it was in their mission to do that. But we also see that the sector as a whole can create a platform for people to spin off into a cooperative space as well.
Okay, thank you. And then
yep.
I was just wondering about evaluation. Is Primary Health Network going to be doing sort of like ongoing evaluation of this COP?
Yes.
Okay.
So we're evaluating the commissioning plan, which includes the creating or stimulating the cooperative market. So overall, we have three elements to the plan. One is bringing the wellbeing collaborative together, so we get people talking to each other across Northern Sydney around health and wellbeing. The second is to create an integrated hub into those areas that we talked about, and the third is to build community cooperatives across Northern Sydney. And we have a theory of change that we've developed with the George Institute, and from that theory of change, we have an evaluation framework to measure the impact of all of that change.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Pamela.
Hi, everybody. I'm from Northern Beaches Council, and I just wanted to quickly go back to the comments sort of about council and supporting the work. I guess I particularly want to encourage you to think of council as more than a funder. I would absolutely love, I'm from the community development team, I would love if we had lots of money that we could offer to support community initiatives, but in reality, certainly for our council, that's not the case. There's very limited funding that we have that we can give towards supporting services. However, I guess we can play a broader role in supporting the work, and it's certainly part of our objective is to see the community stronger and to see community initiatives enabled. So I guess just encourage you to think more broadly about how else council can support and what role they can play and what they can do to partner in the work.
Thanks, Pamela. Okay, so apologies for me dropping out previously. I don't know what happened. I just will maybe restate, or you might be hearing this for the first time. I don't know. But what we're really interested in is volunteers in who is really keen to lead on the community cooperatives for the three areas that we talked about, the place-based cooperatives and First Nations cooperative. So we're really keen, if you want to be participate in that and or lead on that, let us know. That would be awesome. So that would be a really good outcome if we had people who could do that. Also, if you've got your own initiative, which I know some of you do have, and you would like to be there, set up a cooperative for that initiative, also please let us know. So we'll be bringing you all together as startup leaders, I guess, is the way I want to put that. So it may be that you know somebody that's not here that would be keen to be a leader in this space. Can you talk to them as well and share this with them? And that would be awesome. Liz.
Yeah, I think I've not been part of this before, so I could be jumping the gun a little bit with this suggestion, but it would be really great if there was a space, a moderated space that anyone who's interested in this can kind of discuss ideas, collaborate, and kind of talk about the possibilities, the research, and kind of chew the fat almost about this idea. Because I know that a lot of us will go away after this meeting and kind of think things over and come up with new ideas, new comments, and to have to hold on to those until the next month or whenever the next meeting is, we might lose momentum a little bit. So I'm wondering if you have an idea, Eugene, of how we can kind of keep momentum between meetings.
Yeah, that is a good point. Let me just think on that. But yeah, that is a great point. Okay, Myth.
As you know, Eugene, I'm very aligned with what you're doing, and I have lots of ideas about how to move forward. I guess my question is really, if I'm trying to set up something which is aligned with what you are doing, is that a conflict to be in the community of practice if we're both looking for funding to do what we're doing?
No, it's not.
No?
No, I think our role is to enable the cooperative models to. That doesn't mean that we will fund those individual cooperatives. We'll be looking to you to develop your business case and to really think through where the funding will come from. It may well come from the PHN, but it might come from elsewhere. But we really are keen to support cooperatives that are sustainable and in local community and cooperative, and we want to make sure that's a collaborative approach rather than a competitive approach. So once we get into procurement, so if we said we are now going to put out a tender for X number of cooperatives, then that becomes a different situation altogether. So having the conversation collaboratively, using competitive dialogue as an approach, is not a conflict of interest.
Okay, thank you.
John, you had your hand up and then down again. Is that? You're on mute. So I'm loaded today, I'll tell you.
That's we're working our way up to an extra large flat white. So
you could pay me in Bitcoin. I'll be happy with that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Mate, trust me that it's on the way somewhere. Yeah, look, my hand, I don't know why, but it keeps going up and down of its own accord. But so I will resist the urge to expend any time, except for the fact that, you know, the idea of existing units is not, like, I agree 100% that it's completely aligned with Hub, and in fact, the existing organisations need to align their outcomes with whatever, you know. It's almost like they need to practice engaging with the Hub so that, you know, shared resources and opportunities for collaboration can be built. Because at the moment, all of us go alone basically, and it becomes competitive, as Myth points out, or at least we feel like it is. And I think we have to break that because the funding organisations need to be trained to look to us to collaborate rather than look to us to separate ourselves by competing. That's just my thought.
Thanks, John. Okay, I don't think there's anyone else with their hands up. So we will bring this session to an end. I'm just looking at my, so as I said, I'm off to Spain for 10 days, so I don't want to go on about it, but I'm so looking forward to that. But I'm back in 2 weeks, so I'm thinking about if we set up a date for the week commencing the 15th of September, that's 3 weeks away, and take Pamela's, Liz's suggestion about really exploring what the possibilities are around cooperatives, what ideas people are having, what thoughts they're having, just to maintain that momentum. And that would be the agenda for that session itself. Does that sound like have I read the room right? Would that work? Nodding heads would be great, or like this. Yeah, okay, fantastic. All right, so we'll do that. Again, thanks, Lisa. We'll set that up for that week. Now, it may be a time that you can't make, so we will record that session as well, so you have opportunity to see that session also. In the meantime, please get in touch with us with any particular questions that you may have. If you want to volunteer to be part of one of those cooperatives that we talked about, if you're keen to be setting up your own cooperative for your own initiative locally, let us know. And I think once we know that, we get a real sense of where the interest is and whether we've stimulated enough interest to continue with the COP going forward, because we don't want to keep this going if we haven't really inspired people to take on these leadership roles. So yeah, okay. So on that, I'm just going to check there are no last questions before I close the meeting. Okay.
Not a question. Just go visit Mondragon in Spain if you can. It's the largest cooperative.
Oh, what's it called?
Mondragon.
Could you put that in the chat for me?
Yeah, I will.
Thank you, Carl. Thanks. Brilliant. Thank you.
Eugene, I've just popped into the chat the survey for today's session. So just
I've not been evaluated.
No, actually, we didn't have a question about facilitator.
Okay, great.
But it is to give us some more insights around some of the things that we've touched on today. So okay. Cadence and format and speakers, etc. So we do invite everyone to go into that survey now or later in the day. And we've also popped in the chat our email address for any correspondence. The Wellbeing Collaborative at snhn.org.au is the best place to reach all of us. And we will get back to you. And just finally on that comment, I think it was from Elizabeth around momentum and communication. Yeah, we're looking at a Teams channel to be able to facilitate that. So I think that might be a good way for everyone to keep connected. But if you've got any other ideas, do let us know at the Wellbeing Collaborative at snhn.org.au, and we'll explore those as well.
Thank you. Elizabeth, Liz.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank all the not-for-profit organisations such as Uniting for coming to this meeting today. It makes me feel really positive and happy that we've got engagement in that area of the community. Even though I don't think many people said much, it's really great that there's some support in that way, because otherwise this kind of thing becomes a bit of an echo chamber. So yeah, I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, here. Thank you. Okay, so I am going to close. Thank you all for jumping on and participating today. I mean, I was absolutely blown away by the number of people that have signed up to today's session. So that's huge. There's clearly a lot of, people out there that really want to make a difference. So that's fantastic. You'll see dates coming out for a week commencing the 15th, and we'll set that in ASAP. But look, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. And hopefully this is the start of a very exciting and impactful journey. Thanks, guys. See ya.